I want to get the Anthony Edwards ones so bad, but anytime I go to Adidas, they're sold out like that. It's crazy. But the other thing too is they're only $120, which is a bargain if you think about it. So again, the inconsistency for their third guy, in my opinion, and the consistency of the Nuggets third guy, Michael Porter Jr., was the reason why the Nuggets, in my opinion, won this series. Here we go. The first step in the Chiefs 2024-2025 season, the repeat season. I'm calling it. It's going to happen. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Antonio Chauran Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Antonio Chauran, and I just want to go over a couple things today. First off, I want to give my opinions on the NFL draft, specifically with the Kansas City Chiefs, my team, as you all well know. And I want to give some thoughts on the NBA playoffs so far. I wanted to do a video yesterday, but for whatever reason, I was having some technical difficulties. So this is going to come out on Thursday instead of Wednesday when I usually try to upload consistently on a weekly basis. But it is what it is. It's all good. Especially given the fact that Wednesday was fresh off of the Lakers Nuggets game, which was the series I wanted to talk to you all about in particular. But you know what? It's all good. I have a lot of thoughts, especially too when it comes to the game last night. The New York Knicks losing in overtime to the Philadelphia 76ers. That was a crazy game. Again, when you're, it's hard to say like definitively if you have an X amount lead with X amount of time left, that you should win. You can't. I mean, theoretically, yes, right? You have like 20 something seconds left in the game and you're up by 6 points. You should win that game, which was how many points the Knicks were up. And then Maxey freaking made a 3-pointer and got fouled, got the 4 points, and then went down and scored 2. I mean, that guy is unbelievable. He had, I don't know, if he didn't have 50 points, he was close to it. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. But the guy killed it, especially when Embiid. Visibly, you can see he was just tired, worn down. You wonder how much of that is also him getting back in game shape, especially after all that time he took off due to injury. But we'll get to that. We'll get into all the NBA stuff. But I want to go over the Chiefs draft. Obviously, the number one draft that I am super excited about is Xavier Worthy. Is it Xavier Worthy or Xavier Worthy? One of the two. But the fact that he fell so far is shocking to me personally. I think a lot of that had to do with some of the crazy picks that were made in the top 10, specifically with the Atlanta Falcons picking Michael Penix Jr. at 8. I mean, I'll spend a few minutes on this. That makes no sense to me. That you just paid Kirk Cousins $100-something million, a majority of it guaranteed for 4 years. Now, I didn't agree with the contract that was made for the simple fact that this is a guy who was coming off a torn Achilles, right? He suffered it about midway through the season last year. And again, he's like, what, 33, 34 years old? He's not a spring chicken by any means. And the fact that Atlanta paid him all of that money, I didn't agree with it. Look, I have no issue with Kirk Cousins. In fact, I actually gained a lot of respect for him from the quarterback documentary on Netflix. I thought that was a really cool insight just to how he prepares and things like that. So I admire the guy a lot because of that. But at the end of the day, 33, 34-year-old quarterback coming off of a torn Achilles, and you pay him a 4-year deal, $100-something million. I mean, I don't know. So anyways, so you got that background, right? And Atlanta, who was in dire need of some defensive players, um, opt for a 24, 25-year-old college quarterback who probably isn't going to see the field for the first few seasons in his NFL career. So by the time he is ready to go and Kirk Cousins is out of there, let's assume he maybe plays 3 years. And then that last year of his deal, let's say he gets traded or whatever the case may be. Who knows what happens? Michael Penix will be 27, 28 years old, starting for the very first time at that age. It would be one thing if he fell later in the draft, and I don't know where the other picks were that Atlanta had, but let's say later on in the first round, even the second round, who knows, right? Now, he may not have been available because I heard a lot of rumblings that the Raiders wanted to get Penix. I'm glad they didn't. So, who knows? But at the end of the day, I didn't think Atlanta would be in the quarterback market when it came to drafting a quarterback. Especially given the fact, like I said, with the whole thing with Kirk Cousins and the contract that they gave him, that made no sense to me. It didn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. And the GM is over here saying, I saw this, I forget where, but it was a quote from the GM, the Atlanta GM, saying like, well, if he doesn't play for 3-4 years, that's not a bad thing. That just makes no sense to me. Why waste such a high pick on a guy that you're not even going to play in his first few seasons? Like that, I don't know. Again, I'm not a GM. None of us are GMs, whoever's watching, unless you actually are. That'd be pretty dope if I had an actual NFL GM watching this episode. I doubt it, but shoot for the stars, right? Yeah. I think everyone can agree that was a head scratcher there. But you know what? It is what it is. It happens. And as a result, a lot of other players got drafted, wide receivers got drafted. And Xavier Worthy was able to fall to the Chiefs after we traded up 4 picks. We swapped with, out of all people, out of all organizations, the Buffalo Bills. So yeah, we were able to get him at 28. We were initially at 32, so I thought it was a good swap. And we get a guy who has the fastest 40 time in the NFL Combine. Now, take that with a grain of salt, Chiefs fans, because we all know Justin Ross initially held that record, and he's kind of, I don't really know what to think of that situation right now. I mean, he's barely played. He had some off the field issues. So, you look at that 40-yard record, and it's cool, right? It is cool. But at the same time, that's not going to be something that I'm going to like put on a pedestal and be like, oh yeah, like this is the guy that we want for that specific reason. No, he's a Tyreek Hill 2.0 from what I've heard. A lot of people think that we're going to be using him like Tyreek, and let's be honest, no guy's going to be like Tyreek. But the fact that he has the speed that he does, he has great hands, great route runner, can really take the top off of a defense. We're going to need that. And we're pairing that with Marquise Hollywood Brown and Rashee Rice. Again, when it comes to Rashee Rice, I don't know all the stuff that's been going on with him legally. I don't know what the ramifications will be in terms of suspension from the NFL, but we'll see. I mean, I don't expect it to be more than 3 or 4 games. I don't. I wouldn't be surprised if it's more like 2, but we'll see what happens there. But I think it was a great pick. I'm very happy with the fact we were able to get him. He did some workouts with Mahomes in the offseason, and that was the guy that we had been targeting since the summer. Or not the summer, but ever since the college season ended. And so I thought that was great. That was a guy that we wanted. It's a guy that we took. And he's going to have a very pivotal role, I think, this coming season. I mean, our wide receiver room is already so much better. Rashee Rice, year 2, already had an incredible rookie season. Marquise Brown, more of a vet type of guy, but he knows how to ball. And then this kid Worthy. Obviously, we still got Justin Watson, we still got Kadarius Toney, we still got Sky Moore. Again, I don't know what Brett Veach sees in these guys, in Toney and Moore. I wanted Sky Moore to do so well. I wanted him to take a leap, and he just never did. Same thing with Toney. I mean, again, all those freaking drop balls and immaturity. It's tough, but I'm hoping that was a season that he can look back at as growth, right? And time will tell. But yeah, I'm happy with that. And just kind of going down the line here with the guys that we were able to pick. Very O-line heavy. So the next one here, Kingsley Suamataya, something like that. Offensive tackle out of BYU, 6'5", 326 pounds. That's a big boy right there. I'll admit, I was surprised that Xavier Worthy was as tall. I didn't think he was 5'11". He's almost 6 foot. Now, he's 165 pounds. Pretty skinny. Let's beef up a little bit. I haven't been 165 pounds since, oh boy, it's been some time. But you know what? I think the fact that we're beefing up our O-line the way that we are is great. And something that's very interesting is the age. The average age of our offensive line right now is 24, basically 24 and a half years old. That's how old the O-line is. The oldest guy on the line is Joe Thuney, 31 years old. Second to that is Jawan Taylor, he's 26. And then everyone else is either 23, 24, 25, around there. So we have a young O-line, and I love that. I love the fact that we're able to build a very dominant O-line. Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith, guys like that. I'm hoping to see the jump from Wanye Morris in the left tackle position. Obviously, we got Jawan Taylor on the right side there. So, yeah, I think it'll be great. And obviously, Kingsley will be able to add to that. We got some other guys too. There's one guy from Holy Cross, CJ Hansen, 6'5", 300 pounds, center from Penn State, Hunter Norzad. I think that's how you say that. 6'3", 317. Yeah, I mean, these are some big boys, right? So those are great. Obviously, those guys came later in the draft. But I'm excited. I think it'll be good. We got a tight end at a TCU, Jared Wiley, 6'6", 249. I'm not going to say that's like the replacement for Kelsey. I think I'm more of a guy like Noah Gray, who's been in the system for a few years now out of Duke. I mean, he's played great. He's had some pivotal catches over the season, some great plays. I like Gray a lot. But we'll see what this Wiley kid has to show. And then some other defensive guys that we were able to get. The only defensive guys in the entire draft. First one, Jaden Hicks out of Washington State, 6'2", 211, safety. Again, we have Justin Reed as our starting safety. We got Brian Cooks, too, coming off of an injury from last season. So I think this is just good to add for depth. And then adding on to that, we got a cornerback, Kamal Haddon, 6'1", 196 out of Tennessee. Did we get another guy? No, I think those are the only two guys actually were Hicks and Haddon. Yeah. I've heard a lot of great things about Hicks. A lot of people think that was a really good pick. And he was our fourth pick. We got him in like the third or fourth round. So, I mean, people are saying that's a steal. Cool. I'm good with that. Again, these are tall, lanky guys that are good depth pieces, right? I think when it comes to our corners, obviously losing L'Jarius Sneed was tough, but we still got Trent McDuffie. I love Trent McDuffie. I think he's going to have another leap this season. And then on the other side, we're probably going to have a guy in Joshua Williams. Just adding to the depth, right? I think the beauty of our defense is depth. We've done really well with that. And we're not too top heavy. I know Spags loves to keep his corners on islands. He loves those one-on-ones. And when you have a defense like that, you better have some guys that can hold their own, because L'Jarius Sneed and Trent McDuffie were great one-on-one cover guys. So yeah, I think we're good when it comes to that. Very happy with the draft. I mean, there wasn't anyone in particular, in my opinion, that I felt like we missed out on. So, anyways, with all that being said, happy with the draft. I thought we did pretty well overall. I think the average grade on ESPN I saw was like in the high 50s, low 60s. The highest grade was Xavier Worthy, and actually the second grade next to that was Hicks, Jamal Hicks. I'm sorry, Jaden Hicks. So yeah, I mean, these are guys that we're going to be able to build around, add depth, and we'll see if they make the roster. Right, that's the first thing. They got to go through rookie training camp and all that stuff, and then cut 90 something guys all the way down to 53. So here we go. Here we go. The first step in the Chiefs 2024-2025 season, three-peat season. I'm calling it. It's going to happen. And actually, it's a nice little plug to my blog. Go check it out right now, the Antonio Chaudan Sports blog.com. I just wrote it and released a new blog just a few days ago, actually, on April 29th. Go check it out. I want to write up a few more blogs here in the next few days. One including, what can we take away from KD's legacy? I think that's a really good one, especially given the fact that they just got swept by the Timberwolves. Anthony Edwards was an absolute dog. I want to get the Anthony Edwards ones so bad, but anytime I go to Adidas, they're sold out like that. It's crazy. But the other thing too is they're only $120, which is a bargain if you think about it. If you look at any shoe that a Nike athlete has, I mean, I got a couple pair of the LeBrons, the 20s, and I was able to get them on sale, but I mean, its starting price is $200. You know, so it depends on how you want to go about your shoe buying, right? But I mean, at this rate, Anthony Edwards, man, the way he's playing, and his shoes are cool. That's the other thing. His shoes are dope. I love how they look. I love the colorways too. And again, $120. That's a freaking bargain, man. Like, yeah. Anyways, I'll take that all day. But I think it's interesting now with how KD's legacy has really been panned out, right? Obviously, the move to Golden State, wins 2 championships, but people really like to poo-poo that because he went to a 73-9 team. After that, leaves that situation, jumps to Brooklyn. That whole experiment didn't work with Kyrie and James Harden. Then he goes to Phoenix, joins a team with Devin Booker, and then obviously Bradley Beal went up and joined them, or went down. Yeah, because Phoenix is south. And then they get swept. So it's a tough look for KD. A lot of people want him to be in that echelon of LeBron, Kobe, Jordan in terms of like that leader aspect. KD isn't a leader. I don't think he ever has been, and I don't think he ever wanted to. He just wanted to hoop. But because the guy is like 7 feet tall and has a pure jump shot, something that we've never seen before, and he's an elite scorer, people just wanted him to be that, and he simply wasn't. He's not a leader. He didn't want to have that. So, yeah, anyways, I want to write stuff about that and just a few other things here. So stay tuned for that. I'm trying to pump these blogs out more often than I do with these podcasts, aiming to do a couple a week, maybe 2 to 3 a week. So yeah, anyway, stay tuned with that. But kind of transitioning over to the NBA now. What I want to start with is this Nuggets Lakers series. And I want to start with this series because out of all the players right now that's still playing, LeBron is my favorite player. I root for him. And look, I'm not going to get into the whole LeBron Jordan debate. That can be another podcast conversation for another day. But there's some startling stats here that I want to read to you guys. I mean, Lakers, it's frustrating if you're. I'm not a Laker fan. I just like LeBron. So he just so happens to be with the Lakers. I like the Lakers. He could go to the Knicks or the Sixers next season, then I'll root for those teams. Um, Call me a LeBron bandwagon. I don't care. When it comes to basketball, I don't have an allegiance to a specific team. I like Boston. My dad's a huge Boston Celtics fan. So in the East, that'll always be a team that I root for just because of that. But yeah, I mean, I'm from KC, right? The Chiefs are my team in the NFL. The Royals are my team in MLB and MLS or Sporting KC. In the women's league too, KC Current, brand new stadium looks super dope. But that's it. I mean, if you really want to go back in history, I mean, the Kansas City Kings were a thing. You guys didn't know about that, obviously in Sacramento now, but I'm not a Kings fan, so it is what it is. Anyways, getting back to the Lakers here. When we're comparing, I looked at and broke down the numbers when it came down to the respective benches. The Lakers bench surprisingly outscored the Nugget bench 60-59. If you're looking at that, you're like, okay, cool, that works. LeBron and AD both averaged about 28 points a game, 27.8 technically. But AD averaged like 15, 16 rebounds. LeBron averaged like 5 or 6 rebounds and like 7 or 8 assists. I mean, they did their part. Jamal Murray and Jokic. I mean, Jokic averaged 28, 8.9 assists and 16.2. He almost had a average a triple double. I mean, Jokic is insane, man. He's crazy. He's so good. Murray averaged 23.6 points. The game changer, in my opinion, and a main reason why the Nuggets won this series was Michael Porter Jr. 100%. I mean, when they needed a 3, he was there to deliver. He averaged basically 23 points in this series. And when you're looking at the contributors on the Lakers side, when it came to guys aside from LeBron and AD, a guy like D'Lo, Hachimura, they had games where they played well. I mean, shit, there was a game that D'Lo played where he shot 7 of 11 from 3. But then there was a game where he had 0. And then another game where he didn't even have 10 points. And Hachimura, I like Hachimura. He played for the Wizards. I like his game. I think he's a cool player. And then obviously when he went over to LA, I thought that was cool. I want him to do well, but man, he played like shit. He really did. I mean, it comes with the inconsistency. There's so many freaking layups I saw him miss. So many scoops to the basket or drives to the basket where he scoops it up and it's like short. He's like airballing like freaking layups. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? So again, the inconsistency for their third guy, in my opinion, and the consistency of the Nuggets' third guy and Michael Porter Jr. was the reason why the Nuggets, in my opinion, won this series. I mean, look, in game 2, obviously, Lakers were up by 20-something points. Denver comes roaring back and wins that game. And then, obviously, that game winner in game 5. Like, Jamal Murray's that guy. No matter how bad of a night he was having shooting-wise, he always knew in clutch time when he needed to get his shit together the most. I mean, it's like the basket was that big. It was seriously like he could shoot it and it was going in every time. It was automatic. So, credit to Denver, right? I mean, geographically. Well, I mean, I guess more so OKC is closer to Kansas City. So maybe I could be a Thunder fan if I'm sticking to my logic of KC-related teams. I like the Thunder. I don't have an issue with the Thunder. I like their young team, their young core. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, all the Williams dudes, Jaden Williams and Jalen Williams. Chet Holmgren. I love Lou Dort. He looks like a football player. Like that guy will lock you the hell up, and he's big and he's intimidating. Um, I like Lou Dort a lot, and they've been coached really well, and yeah, I mean they got a squad. I don't know. So they'll be going up against the winner of Dallas and LA Clippers, because the Nuggets and Wolves will be going up against each other now. That's going to be a great series. I think that should be the Western Conference Finals, in my opinion, because no hate, no shade towards the Thunder, but I think the T Wolves beat them. I think the Nuggets beat them. Obviously, I know they were the number one overall seed, but hey, I guess we'll see. Anyways, I think the rest of the games for the rest of round one are going to be good. I mean, I know the Celtics are playing right now against the Miami Heat. They're up 15-11 right now. Celtics, I think, will win this game. They're the clear better team. Even with Jimmy Butler, if he wasn't injured, I think the Celtics would have won that series. I don't think it would be a gentleman's sweep. I think maybe it could go 6-7 games, but yeah, I think the Celtics were the better team. The only two series that have been competitive have been the Mavs, Clippers, and the Cavs and Magic. I mean, they're not, in my opinion. Look, I don't want to sound like a casual. Maybe I will sound like a casual, but Orlando now, or I like Orlando. I think they have a really good team. Paolo Banchero, when he was playing with Duke, I followed him a little bit. I thought he was a great player, and he's been playing great this series. And then on the flip side, their main guy with the Cavs and Donovan Mitchell. When he went over to the Cavs, it was an interesting signing. Um, and you would think with the guys that they have around, Karis LeVert, Darius Garland, Jared Allen, guys like that. I mean, that's a pretty solid core. But Cavs are up in that series now, 3-2, I believe, and they don't play till Friday. I'm looking at they don't play till Friday. They're playing in Orlando, so I think Orlando will win that game. I think that can go to 7 games. Clippers and Mavericks, in my opinion, I just feel like are the more entertaining series. They have more box office players. You got Luka Doncic, you got Kyrie Irving, you got Paul George, James Harden. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard's been hurt, but you got Kawhi Leonard, guys like that, right? And yeah, I think that's been a great series though so far. There are so many plays that I've seen Kyrie do that I'm just like, what the hell, man? Like that's wizardry. It really is. It's crazy. I've never seen a guy play the way he has, and I'm happy to see after everything that went down with Brooklyn, him balling out the way that he is again. It's happy. It makes me happy to see. So I'm happy about that. But anyways, I think with how things are going to shape out, I think the Mavs are going to win that series, and I think Orlando will win. I think Orlando will win the series, and I think that they're going to win tonight, or no, Friday, and then they're going to win Game 7 in Cleveland. And they'll move on. But TBD with all of that, we still got to wait to see how it goes. I don't want to give like predictions to everything, but just in the moment, thought I'd say that. I think the Mavs will win their series. I think the Magic will win their series. And then they'll move on. But Nuggets and T Wolves are just patiently waiting. Obviously, the Knicks series is still going on. They should have closed it out last night, but I think they'll win Game 6 in Philly. I think they play better. And look, at the end of the day, you can compare last night to Game 2 when you feel like Philly should have won that game and they got robbed because Maxey got fouled. I mean, people are saying he got fouled. I don't really think he got fouled, even though they went back and said that, oh, he got fouled. But hey, let's play a basketball. Let's play a basketball. A foul is more clouded than it is in a regular season game. I know that's always a controversial. I know that's always a controversial topic, especially when it comes to playoff basketball with just fouls and things like that. And look, the same thing can be said about NFL. And I know, there's so many things to say when it comes to reffing in the NFL. But, to each their own. So I saw, I think it was on ESPN, Mad Dog Russo, Chris Russo, um, said that it was karma because of how the game ended with the Knicks winning in game two, and then how this went with Philly winning. It's kind of like, it's swapped. So, and at the end of the day, now they're even with that, and now we can continue a series. Um, so yeah, I think the Knicks will win that series. Though again, I think the Sixers had to do more to win that game than the Knicks did. I feel like the Knicks lost that game more so than Philly won that game. And I only say that, look, not to take credit away from what Maxey did, what Embiid did. I mean, what Maxey did was incredible. But Jalen Brunson or Josh Hart, they make one more of their free throws instead of going 1 for 2. Mitchell Robinson doesn't foul Maxey on that three. I mean, that's a 3-point difference right there. And all this stuff that Maxey did doesn't matter. Even if one of those things went the Knicks' way, none of that matters. So, yeah, I personally think the Knicks just lost it. They lost their edge towards the end of the game. They lost their composure, and Maxey took the opportunity and seized it. Good for him for being able to seize that opportunity to win the game. First tie it and then win it. But yeah. So, anyways, we'll cover more NBA stuff in the weeks to come, especially given the fact that the draft is over now. Things are kind of chilling. I did see, just really quickly before I finish up here, Zay Jones just got released from the Jacksonville Jaguars. I saw that post, and I added the Chiefs in the comments. Oh, Zay Jones, man, he's a baller. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see what happens. There's still a bunch of guys left to sign in free agency, so we'll see what happens there. I don't know off the top of my head guys that we really want to go after that's still out in the free agent market at this particular moment in time. I'll do a little bit more research and I'll see if I can come up with a few ideas for the next podcast, but I definitely want to go over some more NBA stuff. And let me stop there, because the episode that'll be coming out next week, and I hope you guys stayed for this because this is huge, in my opinion. So I did an interview with Mike Toomey. You're probably wondering who Mike Toomey is. Well, he was in the major leagues as a scout/special assistant for multiple MLB teams for 38 years. Started out with the Pittsburgh Pirates minor league affiliate team in Alexandria Dukes. 2 years. Then he went to the MLB, scouted for the San Francisco Giants, the Texas Rangers, New York Mets. But the main team, obviously the one that I care about, Kansas City Royals. He was a special assistant. He was with the team when they won the World Series in 2015. He was a heavy proponent, and he, very humble guy. Very, very humble guy. I mean, I was going over all of his credentials when we started the interview. He's like, and I was like, did I miss anything? He's like, no, I think that was just fine. He said, look, I was very lucky, and I appreciate all people I was around, people I was able to meet to get in this position. Very humble guy. Very nice guy. Love Mike. But Alcides Escobar and Lorenzo Cain that were with the Milwaukee Brewers, he was like to the Royals, we got to get these guys. We got to get these guys. And then they traded a pitcher. Got to see this, and Lorenzo Cain, Locaine, and the rest is history. So anyways, it's a great conversation. It's a great conversation, and I'm going to be releasing it next Wednesday, May 8th. And I need you all to tune in for that. It's a great conversation. I mean, the topics that we talk about, I'm not going to spoil it. But there's a lot of bases that we cover. No pun intended. But yeah, it's long. I mean, it's about an hour 15, hour 20 minutes. But it's worth every minute of it. And I hope that you guys listen to it, you appreciate it. And yeah, so please stay tuned for next Wednesday. Again, it'll be dropping noon Eastern time May 8th interview with Mike Toomey. Please check it out. So anyways, I'll wrap up with that. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.